Attention, please be advised. The following episode contains spoilers. Don't say we didn't warn you.
What
reaction
saying is that?
it'll punish your it'll punish your cream.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to Nerd on the Podcast. You didn't need, but you did deserve.
Yeah, we're starting strong.
But you didn't deserve.
Hell yeah.
Welcome to Nerd on the Podcast.
Thanks for listening.
Duel.
X-Men did a dark defeated Indianix.
Yeah, no.
Y'all move.
All right.
Oh, what's up? Welcome to Nerd on the Podcast. You didn't need, but deserve, where all levels of nerd are welcome.
Mm-hmm.
Today, we are not bound by our fate and evolve. Today, we talk about the final installment to the Fox X-Men series with Dark Phoenix.
Bum, bum, bum.
No.
No, that's not it.
Okay.
All right.
So let's get into it.
X-Men.
Oh, boy.
My name's Tom.
I'm Corey.
Go on.
I'm Caitlin.
Ali.
And I'm Josh. You're all
And I thought we were going counterclockwise.
This episode is brought to you in part by our patrons over at Patreon.
Patreon.
If you are new to... Yay. Anyway, if you are new to Patreon is essentially a membership service in which you can support your favorite creators, say like us, Nerd On. For as little as $1, $5, you can get a whole bunch of really cool neato stuff like bonus episodes, a Discord server, discounts on merch, all sorts of cool stuff. But check it out, nerdon.io/Patreon.
Great job.
Good job, Josh.
And I do want to apologize, everybody at home, if you cannot notice, I am a little sick, getting over a little something. Getting a little
On the
over
mend.
something.
I know he always looks like that for everyone that's watching.
Yeah.
But.
Wow.
I always look
Now there's an
terrible.
excuse.
So that brings us to our first segment. Since this is the final film, it is a film and it's a done film.
Yeah.
We are going to rate at the end, and that allows us to
Guess that grump.
She's gonna get real angry. She's gonna go and explode from all the power she got in space.
That was like, if I could
proud of
stand
you.
right now, I totally would like give you a standing O.
So everyone
Thank
at
you.
home who's new to the show, this is your first time listening to it, Guess That Grump is a segment of our show that at the end of the episode, we're going to rate it at a 1 out of 5. If you're Ollie, you're going to rate it 0 out of 5 because he puts a short film in there. And the lowest number in the group
That joke
will
needs
be...
to die.
Just
My
a terrible
God.
day.
Fine, we'll put Grease in it because Josh will rate it.
Yeah.
If you're the lowest in the group,
Zero.
if you're the lowest in the group, you're the Grump of the Week. We encourage everyone at home to play along, sending us your numbers and who you thought would have been the Grump of the Week. Since I was explained, I'll guess that it's going to
That
be...
was so quick.
This isn't the end of a drug commercial.
Yeah.
No, maybe I'm just really fucking good at saying it.
That
really,
sounded
really,
like the end of a drug commercial.
You really did. I almost couldn't even comprehend what was coming
You
out of your mouth.
I'm really
Like,
good
I
at saying
said
it.
Browser
And
writer.
Ollie's my chosen. Next
One for Ollie.
next time Ollie explains Guess That Grump and let's see how fast he can do it.
All right, let's do it. You
I'll,
rate things, tell me, go.
I'll guess Ollie.
I'm going to guess Ollie.
God damn it.
I'm also gonna guess Ali.
So who do you guess, Ollie?
I think we could end the episode, guys.
Here. It really isn't.
It is,
And you
but you
built
were
it that
so
way.
vocal about how you felt.
Before
on
it
you.
even came
I
out.
was vocal about the franchise.
Uh-huh.
I haven't said anything about this one.
So anyway, that's 4 Ollie. Who do you guess?
Just guess the person who's gonna be above you, like right
Corey.
above you.
Sure.
Good Corey.
Wow.
I
got that-
guess
you got-
I'll pick
Wow.
Corey.
You got the people's vote, the popular vote.
There we go. So that's that.
So now that brings us to our.
Let us know if you. Who
I
you
hope
use
that
worse.
you're not.
That'd be amazing.
I think it would be funny if it was like Caitlin. I'm not saying that it will be.
That'd be quite
I
the
think it would be
upset.
hilarious.
I'm not saying that it won't be.
So that brings us to our next segment, which is our initial reactions and our first impressions if
Needed
you're across the
spoilers.
pond. So
I'll go first. Let Ollie go last. Let Ollie go last because that's
We
the big
shouldn't even
build
let
up.
Ollie
No, because
speak.
it's a big build up, right?
Okay.
You got 4 votes against you. I feel like you should go
Okay,
last
fair.
to be like
Yeah,
big
yeah,
reveal.
I get that, yeah.
Initial
Nothing
reaction-
against you.
initial reactions,
no.
not favorite part, not qualms.
So my initial reaction was I did have low expectations going in. Being someone who lived through the first time they did the Dark Phoenix story, quote unquote, with Last Stand, knowing that they had hired the same guy who wrote that, I was kind of like, I don't know how to feel about this. I also haven't spent enough time with these characters yet to be going on this kind of journey with them. But I actually left pleasantly surprised. I had recently watched Apocalypse, which I fell asleep in twice. Took me a third time to finally view it.
We got a
my
text.
God.
I finally
and I thought it was
finished
going to be
it.
about on par with that, but it was better than Apocalypse, for me at least. So I enjoyed how they wrote some of the characters. I felt like they fleshed them out a little more. Apocalypse, everyone felt very middle of the road, but this time the characters had their strong opinions and how they were written and stuff like that. So I left pleasantly surprised.
Caitlin.
I
The movie.
I didn't dislike the movie.
Oh, a new
But-
shirt.
But I wasn't. I definitely was very aware of the fact that I was watching a superhero movie. Like, it
Which, well, to be fair, in a superhero movie might not be a bad thing because it's what you went to see.
True.
yeah, that's where I'm like,
I'd be
I
like,
didn't.
I felt like I was watching a John Wick film. Well, it was John Wick 3, yes. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
There's a balance
I mean,
to that.
It was what it should have been for what it was, but it could have been better. Is the vaguest,
Wow.
straight answer I can give.
Okay.
Josh.
I'm gonna straighten your mic.
Thanks, buddy.
This movie has a lot of clouds around it leading up to it. I tried to go into it with no expectations. I've heard the people say that The Last Stand was kind of a Dark Phoenix thing.
It
Is that-
was.
It was, yeah.
It
I really
was.
did not. What's funny is I didn't see that at all. I saw the movie, but I didn't see that. I kept thinking of, was it X2?
Yeah.
That
Well, she
That
died.
set it up.
That
in
set
that
up
one.
Dark Phoenix.
Okay.
Yeah, because she
Um,
dies and comes back, and then at the end they
Spoilers
have
for Caitlin.
because at the
Oh,
end
no,
of X2
never
there's a
mind.
big Phoenix
Never mind.
shadow.
Never mind.
over
Because at the
everything.
very
I'm-
end, she dies.
I'm confusing titles and crazy shit.
Yeah.
These X-Men movies, I like them. They're enjoyable. These kind of, are they a reboot? Would it be a reboot?
This is
No,
Because
it's
sometimes
not.
they-
It's a
It's a standard
continuation.
a continuation, and
It's a timeline fix.
I really like them in a sense that
Adjustment.
they entertain me. But there are some things about them that I saw in this one too that I was like, okay, they're entertaining.
Yeah. Tom.
I was entertained.
So for me, and Corey and I have talked extensively about this, all the X-Men films have been very tumultuous with me. Like, I just don't trust them, and I just have really weird feelings about all of them. X1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Logan?
Not Logan. Logan's in another space.
let me throw this in real
Because
quick.
Logan's not a superhero movie. Logan's a Western film.
Yeah.
It's a Western.
It's not.
It's
Yeah.
a Western noir, if anything.
Absolutely.
So it's almost just not a fucking superhero movie. Anyways,
Can I ask, is it because of comic books?
no. Because in every scene that there's an X-Men character, if there's 4 characters, 2 of them are talking. And
Okay.
that irritates the shit out of me. And it's not, to me, it's not good writing. There's
So
not
your
good
first impression.
So with this one here specifically, I was just like, you know what? If I think it's gonna be the worst movie I've ever seen in my entire life, and I walk in, I guarantee I'm gonna be pleasantly surprised. And
Yeah.
I was left pleasantly
yeah.
surprised.
I was
Um.
more entertained by this than Aladdin.
So.
Well,
yeah.
I was gonna say I was pleasantly surprised as well.
Yeah.
Is it my initial reaction? Okay.
I just didn't say
adding.
it.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
My lips are sealed.
But no, I mean, I would say like this. I think Simon Kinberg directed better X-Men movies than Bryan Singer has,
Nice.
because he's only done one, and this is his first directorial debut. So
I agree
Ollie,
with that. I agree.
A little tidbit to add on. Because my roommates
Is this my
heard.
initial?
The
All right.
suspense is killing me now.
I know.
mine now.
I'm adding to the buildup. The moment I got home and told my roommates that I had seen Dark Phoenix, they were like, "Oh, what did you think?" And I was like, "The swirly light powers were really pretty."
Mhm.
That's all that I said about it,
The
and then I
Super Saiyan
changed the
powers.
conversation.
There you go.
So there's that.
Well, it's first impressions.
Yep.
So Ollie.
I went in for some context. I loved the first 2 a lot.
Same.
The third one, very disappointed with. That was terrible. First Class was okay, and from there, I think it went downhill. I really didn't like Apocalypse.
Were you excluding the Wolverine?
Yes,
Like, and
Logan.
Logan?
Stands alone. The Wolverine movies are okay, I guess. The second one,
Yeah.
The first one's a cartoon. In the negative senses of that word. So for this one, I went in. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go in. I'm not gonna prejudge it. It's the same thing I've done for like every movie that we've seen this year for the summer, anyways. And I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go in with no expectations. I like these actors. I like X-Men. Let's just see it roll out. And for the beginning, for like the very beginning, I was actually like pleasantly surprised at the beginning, and I liked what they were doing with some of the characters.
Going
and we'll
into
talk about that
space
more. And then pretty much right when the titular event occurs is pretty much where I. From there, it kind of started falling apart piece by piece, and especially in the final act, I was kind of checked out at that point. And I was like, I can't invest in myself into what's happening on screen. I feel like this path has been flawed, and I'm not where these characters are emotionally, and it just didn't work for me.
Okay. There we go.
Cool. So with that brings us to some production, then brief. Some brief synopsis first.
Sure, I can do it. I was like, whatever order you want to do it in.
No,
Tom,
it's always
you're
brief
taking the
synopsis
lead.
then production. Go
I
ahead.
know that, but you were so sure. I believed you. I was like, all right, production first. I like this.
When you jumped the gun, I was like, wait, what the fuck? And now I've jumped the gun.
So let's put it this way: the world had almost ended with Apocalypse. So here we are with the X-Men team. They've apparently been doing some missions. Now they're going to do this space mission to rescue some astronauts up there. The year is
1992.
No, it's not 92, is it?
It's 1992.
Oh, yeah, sorry. So they go up in
70s
space.
when they
Yeah.
had flashback.
Yeah, the flashback. I'm gonna just start from. They go into space. They rescue a bunch of astronauts, and they're like, "But the last guy's on there." So Jean was like, "Well, I'll go with Nightcrawler, and I'll hold the ship together, and we'll get him." So they end up getting the guy, but Jean gets hit with this astral cosmic force,
Super pretty.
and almost dies. And then Nightcrawler brings her back onto the ship, and she's kind of all right. They get back down, check everything. Everything looks good, but then she starts having these nightmares and starts remembering things, and they're at a party, and she causes like everyone to get knocked out. And then at one point, Professor X uses Cerebro to try to help her and unlocks all the memories he had hidden. So she goes to find her dad that she now remembers. They show up to try to stop her because he didn't want her after the accident. Jean Grey had killed her mom in a car accident accidentally with her powers. They show up. Raven or Mystique tries to talk to her, gets killed, and then Jean runs away. Beast goes crazy. Everyone starts blaming Professor X for literally every problem that they've ever had.
Everything.
And Jean goes to find Magneto in this haven that he's created after killing Raven, Mystique. The government shows up to find Jean because she basically blew up a city block and attacked police officers. And they have this battle. Jean Grey and Magneto have this battle on who controls a helicopter. Magneto wins in a really badass moment. Then Jean flies away. Beast comes to tell Magneto, hey, Jean Grey didn't tell you who she killed, did she? Guess what? It was Raven, the girl you may have been in love with.
Perfection.
Yeah. So then Magneto goes on this craze. Anyway, it all ends up on this train because these aliens,
The Dabari.
are here to take the power back from Jean. At one point, Magneto and Professor X both try to like save her and kill her simultaneously, and they kind of save her, but then she gets captured. So they all end up on this train captured, and they're like, yeah, we should work together. These guys really suck because if they get the power, they're going to wipe out the
Total
universe. It
world
won't just be one
domination.
person. So a big fight ensues, and then Jean Grey sacrifices herself to save everybody, and then the school is changed from Xavier's School from the Gifted to Jean Grey's
And
School
then
from the
Alfred
Gifted.
meets James McAvoy for Bernie Franker at Dark Knight Rises. And
Yeah, is that the same one from, it looked like the same exact cafe from Inception.
Probably. It's probably a
Black
famous
backlot.
shot, yeah.
Anyway, they meet and play chess.
Which is dope.
That's it.
And there's a big burb in the sky.
Yeah.
Or bird.
Yep.
Yeah.
I say it all the
Little
time,
phoenix.
and I'm used to putting a D on the end.
All right, so let's.
So that was that. That
that's
was
good. That was like.
That's nice.
That was like 1
Like
second.
2 minutes.
Yeah,
So close.
let's go into
frame.
production, then a little lore and brief history.
Can I just real quick?
Yes, sir.
Do you remember our first brief synopsis?
Yes.
30 minutes long.
Yeah. I
Oh
remember that.
no!
I just remember Hush.
It was Hush.
It was Hush.
Yeah.
It was
We
40
just-
minutes.
It was a really long
Because we went beat
synopsis.
for beat.
Yeah.
we went
Line for line
panel-
almost.
That's
panel
when we
for panel.
adopted the word brief.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because you should just be synopsis.
So, distributed by 20th Century Fox for the last time. Director Simon Kinberg, and this is his first time directing, so there's no other credits. Producer Simon Kinberg, who produced Jumper, X-Men First Class, Days of Future Past, Chappie, Elysium, Fantastic Four, the one with Miles Teller and Kate Mara, The Martian, Apocalypse, Logan, Deadpool, Star Wars Rebels, The Gifted, Twilight
Wow.
Zone, Legion, upcoming X-Force, and Deadpool 3. So, to that name, a lot of X-Men things, but also not great things, but also a lot of fucking fantastic things.
Yeah.
Hutch Parker, same project as Kinberg. Lauren Schuler Donner, which should have an asterisk to this because she had stopped producing all the X-Men movies after Last Stand.
Really?
Oh, interesting.
Or after Days of Future Past. So
Right, I forgot about that one.
she before this she did Lady Hawk, Mr. Mom, Free Willy, You've Got Mail, Any Given Sunday.
Free Willy.
So some old school Hollywood in
Really,
that
yeah.
stuff. Screenplay Simon Kinberg, who wrote Mr. and Mrs. Smith, Triple X State of the Union, Sherlock Holmes,
And
X-Men Last Stand, Days of Future Past, and Apocalypse. Characters based on X-Men by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. Cast is James McAvoy, who did Split, Atonement, Filth, X-Men, and is going to be in the It Chapter 2 upcoming film.
And the British television series Shameless.
Yes. Michael Fassbender, who's Steve Jobs, who Academy nominated for that. Prometheus, Assassin's Creed, and Shame, where he shows this long schlong. Jennifer Lawrence, who is Academy Award winning. Hunger Games franchise over Lion's Playbook. Passengers and Mother, recently for Darren Aronofsky. Nicholas Hoult, who was runner-up for Batman, but was in Warm Bodies, Mad Max, About a Boy, and Tolkien. We have Sophie Turner, who's Sansa from Game of Thrones, Lady of Winterfell, you better recognize. Evan Peters, Phil of the Future, American Horror Story, Lazarus Effect, and Never Back Down. Cody Smith McPhee, this wasn't actually in the Wikipedia, but I knew Corey would get mad if I didn't put him in. Who's in Let Me In, Paranorman and The Road, who portrayed Nightcrawler.
Yep.
Ty Sheridan
Thank you.
from Ready Player One, Mud, Joe, Tree of Life. Alexandra Shipp, who played the new Aurora, Storm, Love Simon, Straight Outta Compton, and was Aaliyah in Aaliyah, the Princess of R&B TV movie. Jessica Chastain, who's Ollie's fictional person that he wants to date with. Zero Dark 30, Interstellar, upcoming It Chapter 2, and Molly's Game. Runtime is 114 minutes. Released June 7th, 2019. Budget $200 million and is going to have a $49 million opening weekend.
yeah.
Oh.
Yep.
So a fourth of the budget. So we'll see what happens worldwide. The Rotten Tomato score is at 22% critics and 65% audience score. So
There we go.
yeah.
That brings us to our next segment.
A little bit of brief lore.
Oh, sure.
Quick thing before you brief lore. For those who might be watching and listening, New Mutants. We keep saying that this is the last.
Well,
That
this
has-
is the last of the X-Men series.
Of this series.
New
Yeah.
Mutants is
So that's, like,
it's a
completely
different story.
standalone.
Like Logan, like Deadpool
Yeah.
will continue.
Just to be clear, like there is another 20th Century Fox X-Men movie out there
And
yet to be released.
for everyone at home,
It's not
also
part of this timeline.
who
Correct.
looked it up,
Maybe.
Gambit is technically an abandoned project now.
Yeah.
Ah,
Like
well, there you go.
everyone that's produced it that was connected is called an abandoned project.
And New Mutants doesn't have a release date.
No.
It was supposed to come out this year.
It was pushed, yeah.
It's still in quote unquote post production. But yeah, so brief lore a little bit. The Phoenix is a really popular character in the Marvel universe.
Yeah.
For anyone that is wondering what is the Phoenix, it's a cosmic entity, but it goes beyond that. It's in the omniverse. And so there's a multiverse, right? And then there's different dimensions and stuff like that. But the omniverse is Marvel's way of explaining that outside of the multiverse, there is the Disneyverse, there is the Breaking Bad universe, there's the Walking Dead universe, there's the Witcher, DC. It's all in the omniverse. And the Phoenix is in the omniverse. And so there's only one Phoenix at one time. And the Phoenix is the embodiment of life and death. Because it's a phoenix, it dies and comes back to life. And so the only way to kill the phoenix is to kill all life ever.
Oh.
And so it's impossible to kill the phoenix. But
Wow.
in most recent X-Men stories, it's only found a way in the main Marvel continuity in psychics. Really, it really goes to people who are psychics. There was one event, Avengers versus X-Men, where it went into Namor Submariner, Cyclops, and then he became hungry with power because after the House of M event, where 98% of all mutants were eradicated, like lost their powers, they were worried that no more new mutants would be born. And then Cyclops became pretty much Magneto. And it was like, we need to make sure that mutants come back. And so when he had the power of the Phoenix, he waged war against Steve Rogers and the rest of the Avengers. It's really, really cool, which I'm looking forward to in the MCU. But cinematically speaking, we've seen this in the animated series. We've seen it in X-Men and Logan and the X-Men. We've seen this in X-Men Evolution. All the video games always have like a thing with the Phoenix. The Phoenix is just a popular character to use. I think the tough thing that happened with this is that with Chris Claremont's writing, when he introduced the Phoenix, Jean Grey as a character is supposed to be like a really useless, weak character. And we're supposed to develop with this character. Cyclops is in love with her. Wolverine's in love with her. And when we get to the point where she becomes the Phoenix, it's not like Daddy Xavier. It's more like the Phoenix is trying to now understand human interaction. and all that human interaction is overwhelming, and that's when she becomes the Dark Phoenix, because
It's too much.
she is the embodiment of life and passion and hate and anger all at the same time, and getting these human emotions for the first time becomes the Dark Phoenix. So
Too many emotions.
it does kind of play out like the movie, where it goes visits the dad and all that stuff, and has a really sad end where Wolverine is asked to kill the Dark Phoenix, but it's actually Cyclops. But instead, she just kills herself anyways. There are aliens that get involved, which is really nice to see in the movie. But yeah, for everyone at home, I would definitely just start with the Chris Claremont Phoenix story. But you'd actually probably
Maybe
want
we'll do that on here.
maybe. I would definitely start a little earlier with that, because you need to understand a little bit more about what like Kitty Pryde, because Kitty Pryde becomes a big part of the X-Men story and franchise.
me happy.
And figuring out like how Claremont's run. Just probably X-Men 1 with Chris Claremont to start it off. Would be good.
Cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
Favorite parts?
Favorite parts. I did a lot of talking. So
Nightcrawler, anything. I mean, especially the fight on the train where he gets pissed that soldier dies, and he's like, "All right, here we fucking go," and just starts teleporting and like breaking people's necks with his tail and stuff like that.
He went
That's
ninja.
the badass moment I've been waiting. Nightcrawler is my favorite X-Men of all time, and forever will be. The one thing Apocalypse got right is I thought they wrote Nightcrawler really well, and I think they again wrote him really well in this and gave him, now he doesn't have that Flock of Seagulls haircut, which I thought was the weirdest choice.
Wild, yeah.
But
He didn't know.
I mean,
Now he's got style.
yeah, he wouldn't have had, that was in style then, but he would, anyway, whole thing. He was in the circus. How would he have a Flock of Seagulls haircut? Anyway, so they wrote him really well in this. So to see him have his screen time and his moment, that I haven't seen something this cool since the beginning of X2 with his assassination of the president kind of thing.
Shout out to the actor, Alan Cumming.
Yeah.
Alan Cumming.
This was really satisfying as a Nightcrawler fan to watch. Every scene he was in, the opening scene when they're rescuing the astronauts was really satisfying.
That was awesome, yeah.
That moment where you actually get to see him go through his portal and through his like dimension into the ship again was like, I got chills watching that. I was like, I've wanted to see this since I was a kid. So that was really, really nice. My other one is to a Magneto squishing the train car, and then like just the thing I like about this is that like they made him into this because he got so much more powerful in the last film. Apocalypse gave him power.
Yeah.
So to see him just kind of like flick of his wrist kind of do stuff was satisfying for me as someone who's also a fan of Magneto. Just see him at that point of just being like, close your hand and the whole thing crushes, and then just flick it away and it's gone.
Yeah.
Also, keeping up with Jean.
Yeah.
In that
well,
scene.
like that. So him doing that so effortlessly really gives weight to the scene where he's fighting for the helicopter, where he's like using everything he has.
He's got.
So to see him have that kind of power effortlessly, like go back and anyway, those two moments for me were my favorites.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'll speak with the
You speak now, please.
the camp that Magneto has.
The Haven.
The Haven.
I think that's Genosha.
It's supposed to be.
Yeah, because Genosha
But-
is exactly what that is. It's a safe haven for mutants that don't want to go to the. There's many different factions at like Charles Xavier's school.
Yeah.
But he has one where it's like we're free people.
Oh, nice.
So like seeing that, I was like, wow, I didn't know my pants turned wet.
In the
Wowza.
comics, Genosha is like one of the biggest turning points in the storyline towards the extinction of mutants.
Well,
It's trippy. Anyway,
Really, actually, what I'll say is anything with Michael Fassbender.
yeah.
Amen, brother.
And
Michael
McAvoy.
Fassbender in anything that he does, really, when I see his name that he's involved, I'm like, okay, I'm interested. I need to see this. Like
Now you got my attention.
the recent Alien movies,
David.
Prometheus and Covenant. He's just incredible to watch, and so with this, when he's on screen, I do forget that I'm watching a superhero movie.
Yeah.
I know that it's a superhero movie, but
But you're also
to
watching a performance.
You're watching
Yeah.
a performance of
That
somebody who
caliber of
is
acting
that he
going
is
up.
so invested in what he's
McAvoy's
doing.
that for me as well.
McAvoy is
Yeah,
yes
same.
as well.
Absolutely.
The two of them are just like,
Yeah,
anytime
Powerhouse.
they're on screen, I'm just like, is this real life?
yeah. So anytime that he's, especially the moment when he is told that Raven is
Oh, yeah.
killed,
And he turns.
and the look that this is okay. This is my test.
Yeah.
For if you can tell if an actor is good. It's not when they're saying things. It's when not saying things when they're reacting. When you see a transition in their face. Another person that does it, that I realized this when I was watching the recent Chernobyl series on HBO. So good. It'll freak your milk out. It is insane.
My milk's
Anyway,
not been
a
freaked.
reaction. A
What
reaction.
saying is that?
It'll punish it'll punish your cream.
I want my milk.
It'll freak your milk out.
I don't
Anyway,
Okay.
essentially, I call it the transition. It's when they're going from one emotion to the next emotion.
You mean feeling things?
Yeah, they're feeling things, but you're seeing the calculation, you're seeing it change in their brain. And when he was told that Raven died, it was like you could just see that he was just like, kind of like, what the fuck's going on? What the fuck's going on? What the fuck? What? Like, he all of a sudden became incredibly angry.
Yeah.
And it was very cool to see the transition, and he is just anything with him on it.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Just that lead up because he almost like knows
mhm.
already the news, and then he's like, what aren't you telling me?
Yeah.
And that's like, he knows.
Whose blood is that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whose blood? That was great.
Well, I mean, in his mind, it could be anybody. And it's not that Magneto doesn't care. He does care. There's certain things that he's fighting for that maybe not everybody else is.
He's willing to
Doesn't mean
kill.
that he doesn't care about any of the people that are X-Men.
No, well,
he,
it was
he
originally,
wants to know, like, whose blood is
it's
that?
originally Martin Luther King and Malcolm X. That
Oh, nice.
inspired those two characters.
Oh, wow.
I feel like this is
I did
insane.
not know that.
Yeah, I thought so, but that's who they're based off of. So that you have the peaceful protest. Show them how good we are. Let's be better than them.
And
Yeah.
who do they fight for?
Yeah.
Marginalized communities.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then Magneto's the opposite. They say we need to take an active approach.
So anyway, that's my favorite parts.
Tom Ali.
Michael Fassbender.
I really liked. I also agree with Fassbender and McAvoy. I thought they were the highlights for sure. One of my favorite parts was like the beginning, Raven talking to Jean. I really liked, and that's where I first started to really like Raven, because I'm
So weird.
I don't
calling
think
her
I've said it
Raven.
on this. Well, I don't think I've said it on this show because we haven't reviewed a X-Men movie. I don't think. But I really don't like Jennifer Lawrence's Mystique. I thought she was miscast from the beginning. I just never thought she fit the role.
Yeah.
But in this movie, I was actually starting to really like her character because it reminded me. Spoilers for Endgame. Not really. It reminded me of Scarlett Johansson's character and how she was dealing with stuff.
Yeah.
And I was
I
like,
could see
this
that.
is cool. I see like where this might head in the direction of like, you're taking this really active, strong approach. You're going to be the next leader. Like I was like, this could be cool. And then they kill her.
You didn't see that?
Spoilers.
I didn't see it coming up.
I saw that miles. Like, okay, so when
Good
first
for you, Tom.
when first class
I don't
came
see
out,
things
when
like
first
that.
class came out, I was like, cool, Jennifer Lawrence. She didn't get her Academy Award yet. And then when she got it, I was like, it's gonna be a matter of time before
Well,
X-Men can't
here's the
hold
thing.
her.
She said that she loves making these movies. It's literally just the makeup that she hates.
Oh.
It needs to be an 8-hour application.
I didn't think that would necessarily mean her being killed off, but since it was the last one, I was
just-
like, you're just doing the last one to get it over with, and then
I just kind of felt like I was like, there's only a matter of time. She has to get killed out soon.
Oh well, no, it wasn't like expecting another movie after it with her as a leader. I was just saying like I like where you're going with this story. I like the story you're telling me right now in this movie. So I really like that scene between them two at the beginning. Yeah, so that was that was the part I enjoyed.
For me, I to kind of mirror off of Josh. So any part with Fassbender, I really liked. All his fights were great. The thing about Ian McKellen versus Fassbender as Magneto, I think from
I'm
my
listening.
experience of X-Men, they play two sides of the same character.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's very different, but they're both different. Like Ian McKellen has a grandiose feel of the mystique of Magneto, but Michael Fassbender like kind of immortalized the revenge aspect and almost of the we are superior. But Ian McKellen also had the superior sense by X2 and X3. It's just different. And I can't wait to see what's going to happen next with it because I want a little bit more of like a fusion between the two for my next Magneto. But what I wanted to mirror of was all the fight scenes that Xavier was in.
Wolverine.
I know, right?
Yeah.
The one that he wasn't in. Was all the fight scenes that Xavier was in. Because I really like the part on the street where he had to kind of multitask between everybody.
That was cool,
I
yeah.
really enjoyed.
Yeah.
Because also with this one thing that I liked this compared to all the other X-Men movies, even though Last Stand was supposed to be like the big, we're working together as a team. This was like, to me, the best team fight out of all of them. And I was like, this is really cool because they're all trading fighting partners. They're all fighting their own way. The string stuff may look a little dumb, but I just liked how Xavier got in there. He was on the front lines and he was like, I have
String
to
stuff?
make sure, like Nicholas Holt on the fucking thing as a beast. It looked a little bad. But I liked the multitasking look and feel. Like, I got to make sure that this person doesn't die from here. I got to make sure that doesn't happen there. Like, push me over here so I can go, put my hand here. I was like, I like that a lot.
Yeah.
I liked, it was a very interesting take to go with Xavier being this like prideful dude, which is like, I feel like his pride is more duplicitous in the way and not so overbearing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it was like, okay, cool. We're going to put it on the fucking table. And to me, I liked it only because it gave him room to do something. Not because I liked the way it was executed, but I was like, you got to give him something instead of just being like, I understand. And you could say sorry and I'll forgive you for it.
So he's not like a
He's not stagnant.
omnipresent.
Yeah,
kinda
I mean,
like-
he doesn't have a flat character arc. He'll have a positive character arc.
I
at
agree with
the end
that.
of it, so.
I didn't like how it was executed either. Didn't
Yeah.
feel good.
I mean, yeah.
It didn't feel like it. Yeah, it fell out of
I
place.
do like how there was a little bit more of this kind of finality-ish coming back to First Class because I think, obviously the writers know like this is going to be the last one that we're going to be doing of this. So, I mean, I did like those poignant pieces. Caitlin?
I liked small moments because that's apparently my thing.
Mm-hmm.
The
I
mole
liked
on the
it.
back of the neck.
Yeah, the mole on the back of the neck. Yeah.
Yeah.
I liked the party scene at the school with all the students just like being a pop star with a bunch of floaty lights around and putting, ice in the glass and whatever. Just like, it's all the things. It just reminds me of like anime AUs where you
Oh
want
my
your
God.
characters to interact in like a normal setting. And
Yeah.
that whole
Yeah,
scene
but-
was nothing but that.
Yeah, that was
It's just like, what would happen if they were at a party and they got to hang out together in the woods and it was fun?
It was Halston
that?
Sage who played the Dazzler girl.
I mean, it was their version
Ah.
of the party scene in.
I didn't.
Ultron.
I had an issue with that. Scene.
Well, so that actually happens in the comic books.
What?
Does it
They
really?
go to a bar and then there's Dazzler.
Oh yeah. I'm just saying this
Yeah.
movie. It was this
is she
movie's
supposed to
version
have
of-
like a speaker voice? Because the mixing was really odd on her singing.
I don't know about that.
I was like, "Are you singing, or is there like a boombox off screen?" And you're like, because it sounded like it was a professional sound system.
I mean,
part of her thing
I don't know if
is
you've
singing.
ever sang professionally in your life, but
But
people
there's
just
no
sing.
equipment
Oh
around.
my God.
But no, that's go on, Corey.
I was just saying that her power is
Yeah,
essentially that.
What
Yes.
is it? Singing?
In the comic books, they didn't
Being
know
sparkling.
that she was a mutant
Right.
until so
Ah.
it's kind of like here's a nod to the comic book, but also we're doing it in our own way.
Mhm.
But I'm also kind of like, how are they drinking? But
How
this
are
is-
they drinking?
Yeah.
No rules.
With their mouths?
Well, it's like,
Like,
you're in the
what are they
school,
drinking,
Xavier.
or-
What the fuck are you doing? They're all underage. Come
not
on.
physically. How are they drinking?
What are they drinking?
Like,
Yeah.
how
How
are
do
you
you do
drinking?
that?
Like,
How
whenever
are
I
you
see
allowed
how
to?
are they
How do you do
drinking?
that?
Whenever I see a TV show and it's like high school kids and they're at a party, I'm like, how are you guys drinking? I want to know because it was fucking hard for me to get alcohol
Same,
when I was
yeah.
underage.
Have you seen Ma?
I don't.
I bet he knew,
condone it.
and he was just like, you know what? They almost all died. Let
It's
him have
fine. Just this once.
Have
Um,
my liquor.
And
Yeah.
also Whippy Stabby Dread Man.
Oh my god.
I
Yeah.
forgot his name and
We
he
need to work on
disappeared
that
so
name.
quickly.
Whippy stab
Remember
Dread
that,
Man.
Yeah, until he got tossed off the train with like
Oh, yeah.
6 other people.
Yeah, for
That
sure.
was dumb.
I hated that. That's Qualm. But I did like him until he disappeared.
Yeah.
Whippy stabby Dread Man.
Whippy Stabby Dread Man.
Have no fear, Whippy stabby Dread Man is here.
So favorite characters, or we have more favorite parts?
Well, no, I was just gonna say that I really dug. I actually really dug the last watching Scott Summers be able to use his power so often because we didn't get it. It was always
Yeah.
like 1 or 2 moments through the movies, these big moments.
Mhm.
So it was nice to see him using it in the way and like having to
Actually in a
press the
fight.
visor.
Using
and,
it and not just in destructive ways, but in creative ways too.
Oh, we
Yeah.
shot it
There's-
as in the.
The cannon.
Yeah, dude, like
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
so cool. Being able to see the kind of things that they've prepped for as a team since the last film.
Yeah.
To be able to do these kind of things. And I also really liked like shout out to James McAvoy for doing this. Like Xavier walking up the stairs, like making him walk up the stairs was a really tense moment for me. Like I didn't think I was gonna feel this kind of tension in this movie. But
Yeah.
like him going, I can't do that. And she's like, get up. And he's like, whoo. And
But it's also like a pride moment too, where he's like, "Don't make me do that." This is
yeah.
because it's so.
Well, because it was
Yeah.
a big
It's
deal.
really
and-
heartbreaking.
Well, I love that fact in Days of Future Past,
Yeah.
where he was willing to put away with his power, so he injected himself with like a steroid that allowed him to walk.
Yeah.
And then it was a really big deal for him to
Yeah.
like start not doing that. I like to put that away. It's like become who you are, not who you were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
So to put him in this moment, it's like it's kind of like, okay, this sounds terrible, but if someone's an addict and they've been off it for so long, if you put it in front of them, it's like, dude, that's really messed up. So like his walking, like
that scene was really
it was really.
Anyway, I just wanted to say I liked that scene. It was a good bit of tension.
To add to that, I like that each X-Men, like to your point, felt like an X-Men character.
Yeah.
And not like a side character.
I wanted to talk on that
Yeah.
for just a moment before we move to qualms, because that was my big. I texted Tom the other day when I watched Apocalypse, and I was like, "Here's my thing. X-Men is my favorite Marvel IP, and the powers are really cool, and they're what gets you excited about it, right? But like, I don't like Nightcrawler just because he can teleport. Like, that's not."
Right.
I don't.
It's because he's
full
blue.
character.
You don't like. I mean,
Just
Wolverine
kidding.
having claws is cool, but it's his characteristics, and like,
Yeah.
they all have very firm ideals and beliefs, and the way they act.
Personalities.
Yeah, personalities, and the way Apocalypse was written was everyone was very generic. There was times where I couldn't tell the difference in personality between like Magneto and Charles Xavier, which isn't a good thing, because they should always be that, like, yes, they agree on things, but they're very different people.
Yeah.
And for me, seeing this, especially after just watching Apocalypse the day before, was really refreshing to be like, okay, well, Scott Summers believes these kind of things, and Aurora believes these kind of things, and Nightcrawler would react this way. That's non-specific to anyone else. So like, I just want to give a shout out to that, because that was huge for me, is to finally see these characters who I haven't seen like this since like X1 and 2, this defined on who they are and what they are as characters.
Right.
And that was really refreshing.
I would say that to me is how I feel about most of the Bryan Singer direction.
Mm-hmm.
Like, as much as like X-Men First Class by Matthew Vaughn is like such a far cry from the comic books, like the one thing I really loved was the fucking James McAvoy, Michael Fassbender, Jennifer Lawrence trio, because it was like these are all defined
and all the
characters.
other kids too, like Havoc
Yeah.
and stuff.
I don't like how Darwin died, but that's stupid.
No.
But anyways,
Yeah.
was
next
dumb.
part,
Favorite characters?
favorite characters.
Yeah.
I will just say Magneto. It's really easy for me.
Yeah,
Just because he was my favorite part. I mean, just every time he's on screen, I'm like,
same for Tom.
this dude,
Yeah.
this guy fucks.
Magneto's so good. Like, and the thing is, like, I don't, other than Apocalypse, I think he's been my favorite character of all of them.
Yeah.
Like, because I will say one thing in terms of costuming was really weird, because like in the first one he has the slick back hair.
His
After that,
costume in this
gone.
one was dope.
I mean, I like the black helmet. I didn't like the all black, because I was like, it's a little too like.
I
Bryan
just
Singer
thought it was so cool when they're like, they're fucking walking and he's got this like
cloak,
cloak kind of
a
thing.
duster,
A duster. I was like, yeah.
aka everyone. Josh wants one.
Josh wants to die.
Yeah.
I don't
That's what he.
know.
Yeah, he does. You want to wear
And
with
And
sweats.
a Magneto helmet.
Yeah. And the
Um,
Magneto helmet.
But no, I really like him
Sweats.
there. And
No.
like, especially like again his performance of when he's trying to hold back the helicopter, which by the way is a real helicopter.
Yeah.
Apparently. He's like a full body performance.
He wasn't actually controlling the helicopter
no,
through his
but it
acting.
was a real helicopter.
There was a pilot.
It's strong enough. You never know.
I mean, he is.
Through the power of
What
his
is my
acting,
motivation?
Michael Fassbender was able to connect with metal and control it through
gonna
his
do this for
acting
the rest of
alone.
the episode.
So method. Continue.
No, yeah, it's Michael Fassbender, and at the very end, one game for old time's sake, I was like,
That's great.
McAvoy in the beginning too was really great. It's just that charming Charles who can talk to kids and make anyone feel welcome. For me, it's Nightcrawler. 100%. 100% it's Nightcrawler. I've finally, like, since X2 have
I
been
feel like
waiting.
this is a really good Nightcrawler.
Yes. Shout out to the actor. He was great. The way they wrote it was great. I liked
Cody.
his look. He's like this tall, lanky dude, which Nightcrawler to me has always been this like super long neck, like. So it worked really well, and just seeing him go into like rage demon mode and break a guy's neck with his tail was like, in the theater I was like, yeah, just really excited about it.
I want to do an honorable mention.
Or is he like a side character? I don't know.
No, he's a main
Yeah, I'll
character.
say
I would.
his
I
name.
want to do
In
an
the X-Men
honorable
team.
mention to Cyclops,
Yeah,
because he felt to me, I was like, this is the most Cyclops I've gotten. Like,
I didn't like him in Apocalypse.
yeah, but this was good.
This was great
Because he was like, no, I need her. When he was talking to Storm, I was like, yes. Because Cyclops is supposed to like not believe in Xavier later on.
Yeah.
And is supposed to grow into his own person and become the leader of the X-Men. And so I'm like, yes, like, get me that Cyclops. But I was like,
Yeah.
This is the last one.
Yeah,
Not gonna
because
get it.
I like wasn't I don't think it had anything to do with the actor in Apocalypse, but the writing, who's just so whiny.
Even James Marsden's character in the Bryan
it was
Singer ones.
in a step in the right direction.
To me,
I think Apocalypse is a step back for the character.
I would say, well, Cyclops in Apocalypse is a fucking side character.
Yeah.
James Marsden is just Boy Scout, but he still doesn't make any decisions.
No.
And I don't like that. But like this was like, yeah, fucking you take control, Cyclops. You go after that. And you say that one F-bomb that they're allotted.
Yep. That one.
That one F-bomb.
So yeah, Nightcrawler for me with
fucking
honorable
kill
mention
you.
to Xavier. I just love James McAvoy's Xavier, and I loved Patrick Stewart, and I think they connected the two really well. I think he made it his own while still paying homage to Patrick's performance as well.
Yeah.
Kaylin. The Phoenix.
Whippy stabby dready man.
No,
I'm
he
just kidding.
wasn't my favorite. I actually really liked. I can't remember her name.
Sophie Turner. Jean Grey. Vuk.
Storm.
The blonde alien woman.
Vuk.
Yeah,
Vuk.
Vuk.
Jessica, my wife.
Jessica
V-U-K.
Chastain.
Your
V-U-K.
wife.
You've met her
Ah, your wife.
last Christmas.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't celebrate Christmas.
I don't know. She did a good
It's
job
awesome.
of being like creepy alien woman, which was her
Well, I
job.
mean, if you
so
take
she
your
did it.
eyebrows off anyone, they look really creepy.
Remember when I had no eyebrows?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Because before she went out, like regular her had eyebrows, and then when she came
Barely.
back as there's nothing. It's just like
Or there's super light.
yeah,
They were super light.
they did it very very intentionally.
Yeah. That was. It was
But
supposed to
I think she
look
also transitioned very well from being. I think she was originally Margaret or whatever in the beginning,
Yeah, or
That's-
whatever.
to the alien.
whatever her actual human name was, and then like. I felt like they were like similar but very different at the same
yeah.
time. She
Oh, yeah.
she did a very good switch. I was
You could
fond
say
of
there
her.
was two beings hosting over two women in the movie.
Ollie, your turn.
Hey.
Save us. I'm just kidding.
I'm gonna go with Raven only because I was pleasantly surprised that I actually liked the character.
She was able to turn you around
Yeah,
on the character because you
On
didn't
her.
like her the other ones.
correct.
Yeah,
And I did like.
That's a big
and
feat.
I've always thought McAvoy and Fassbender were always the same
Right.
race. So that's like my.
it's like
default
when we
answer.
talked about Ian McShane in John Wick. You're like
Right.
you always forget to name him as your favorite because you're like, of course he's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, of course the
It's
two
like
of them
common
are great.
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But for
So-
her, it was a
Just for that
shift
point.
for you. Got it. Cool. Awesome.
So
That
now-
brings us to
Qualms.
Quimquams.
Quimmies.
Gripes,
Qualms.
as some people call it across
Plenty
the
of
pond.
gripes. plenty of qualms.
Qualms women. Also, shout out to that line. Should be called the X women because the women are always saying the men. I was
I'll
like,
start it off.
That's kind of cool.
It just reminded me of the MIB
X-Force.
International trailer.
I think I want to start this off because I think I figured out what like cascades into my other qualms and why I have them.
Systemic.
It's yeah. So and I think it might feed into why we all might have a problem with a few of the things. Dark Phoenix is a huge plotline with a lot of weight, right? Because it's this time where your favorite characters shit gets fucked up. Shit gets turned like it's the Infinity War of X-Men. Like shit gets fucked up.
Yeah.
So having only spent 45 minutes with these characters in the previous film, it's hard to have that weight of what's happening. Like, I don't know this Jean Grey. So I didn't care enough when it happens 20 minutes into the film that she gets hit with this thing. Like, yes,
Yeah.
it's sad, but there's no weight to it. There was a little more weight for the turn in like X2 when she died.
Yeah.
And like
spent two
X3 when
movies
she
with
died.
Well,
Like,
she's a romantic interest in the first film with Wolverine.
Major
Right.
And most
character.
of the film.
and she's
But-
in most of the film, major player in the film.
And the only
Yeah.
thing they gave you in this was like 10 minutes between Cyclops. Like, just come back to me.
Yeah. So for me, a lot of the weight isn't there. So like with Infinity War, we had 10 years with Robert Downey Jr. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
22 films.
Exactly.
This we've had a lot of time, but we've had one film with Sophie Turner as Jean Grey in comparison. So that weight for me for the turn, I'm like, maybe this is just how she is. I don't know yet because most of the film was focused on Apocalypse, and Bryan Singer can't write women. So, you know, while this was written better and her character was like fleshed out and like I understood at a fundamental level who she should be before it happened, I didn't get to see it.
Yeah.
So for me, I think that stems into a lot of my other
I think that
issues.
for me it was for that it wasn't like it appeared, but for me there was no build to it. There was no transition.
Yeah,
Right,
Like,
that's
so-
what I'm trying to say.
Can I add to that?
Yeah.
And I think this is kind of like a systemic thing with the X-Men series. I think after Last Stand, when they realized they're in the superhero business, the tough thing with X-Men First Class, and I think Matthew Vaughn talked about it, where he had an idea. He had a 3-movie idea, and Days of Future Past was supposed to be the 3rd film.
Oh,
The second
yeah,
film
yeah.
was only supposed to be like, here's a new X-Men class. Sophie Turner, like Jean Grey, young Wolverine, all that shit. He had a plan. I don't think it would have worked that well because I don't like his plans for Man of Steel either. But he had a plan because he wanted his characters to grow.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing with these films, I think inherently is an issue, is that each film almost doesn't feel connected to the last one. The only thing that's really connected is the cast.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
the thing is like kind of like with any other franchise film, Lethal Weapon, Rush Hour, I'm not even going to compare it to the MCU because I think the MCU had the plan a long time ago and everything is a stepping stone for the MCU. But with this, there's no universe to build. There's just the X-Men named you got to build. And so with each one, you don't feel like there's an incremental growth between all the characters. There's things that have changed and they're going through decades, which is tough to do. So to me, the whole opening sequence with Jean Grey, I think should have happened in Apocalypse.
Yeah.
Or should have happened in Days of Future
Well, they
Past.
set up. That opens up a pretty big issue with the plot, which is like at the end of Apocalypse, she taps
She
into
does
the
in the
Phoenix
Phoenix
Force,
Yeah.
and then it's
That I'm not
goes
gonna.
away?
To me, I'm not gonna call that out because that's a logic gap, not a
it was
writing
never
thing.
explained. Yeah.
okay.
Because to
But
me, that's.
I mean, that's exactly what I was getting at. Is that we haven't had the time to grow with these characters.
Yeah.
Whether it be just the amount of films we got or the writing, neither of them have helped us understand the characters anymore. I think the only one I understand more about is Quicksilver, and he's only in this for 4 minutes.
Right.
And that's because we got the few lines in Apocalypse with the whole dad thing that never came to
Can't
fruition.
be or do anything with.
Which I just realized
yeah.
that's dumb.
I think it's
And
like
he wasn't even in the end of the film.
No, he
There's
was.
been-
He said, "Slow down, safety first."
there's been
Dad
plenty of
is all he had to say.
of those.
Just kidding. Go ahead. He's talking to Magneto.
yeah.
Slow down, Dad. Oh,
Worst reveal ever.
There's been plenty of movies, I think, for these characters. It's just nothing's happened to the characters in them. So I never feel like there's any kind of character growth. And it like jumping the decades, first off, aging much. And then second off,
changing the timelines.
like nothing, like it doesn't move the character. So you don't feel like you've spent 3 decades with them,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Which
So
is like,
wait, this is 1992.
yeah, I
so
don't
in 8
understand how
years
the
he's
aging
supposed to be
works.
Patrick Stewart?
We had the Cuban Missile
No,
Crisis.
they showed that stuff already.
Cuban Missile Crisis to the Endeavor launch. No one ages? Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's. Don't get me wrong. I am not one of those people that just hates these new X-Men, and I'm not saying hate. I mean, there are some people that
I don't
avidly
just
hate
hate
these.
it. For
Yeah.
No,
fun.
but what
Yeah.
I'm saying
Easy
is
there,
like
bub.
they. Thank you for calling me bub. It's kind of they're enjoyable, they're entertaining. Do they have lots of weird logic things? Yes. But the thing that I don't like about them mainly is that if they're a continuation, their timelines are all sorts of
Oh, yeah.
I will forgive those. For
Figure
me, logic is kind of one of those things that I'm kind of like, I'm not gonna. This is people flying.
yeah.
People who are transcending space and time.
Yeah.
But like for me, it's the kind of like it's more in line of character,
Mhm.
and because like the first film is about the 3, the next film is about Wolverine, the
Yeah.
next film after that it's about James McAvoy and Magneto again,
Yeah.
and then so throughout the entire thing there hasn't been anything about the actual X-Men.
But there's
Yeah.
something to building a fan base and building a community around films that people can get together and celebrate. And when you
No.
strip out continuity like that,
I'm gonna throw that out of the window because that's where CinemaSins comes in. Because it's kind of like if you're gonna start jumping out like small logic gaps, every movie has them, and then all of them fall apart.
Mhm.
Because then it's like if those are the things that are holding your film up, then logic's holding your films together. And
Yeah.
if that's the case, then a lot of your films fall apart.
Yeah.
So the logic for me just goes out the window. But it's more about like what story you're
I
trying
mean,
to
to a
tell me.
degree. Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, it's like Bruce Wayne traveling to Gotham City.
Yeah.
Like those kind of things. Like my film's not going to be falling apart because I lose my logic. It's going to be because the
But wait,
characters-
wasn't your qualm in Aladdin that he got back to Agrabah?
no, is
without
that they didn't
showing
show it. They didn't show the tension between the two.
Oh, I was gonna
That's
say.
because
Okay,
how they
gotcha.
draw the tensions. Like that was your chance.
It wasn't like.
It was
How'd
like,
he get there?
Because it happens in the cartoon.
Yeah,
But I was
yeah.
like, this is a film. It's like you have the chance to dramatize it.
Yeah, yeah.
And so
I see what you're saying.
with things like that, it's like again, you could write it where things could be dramatized, but things just play on paper.
Yeah.
Versus like, did we get the serial number to the part for this machine right? It's like those kind of things. Like I'm not.
that's
gonna
not what I'm referring to.
But yeah, but I'm
okay.
saying like with those things, it's like those are minutia things versus like.
I think there's
overarching.
a degree to it for
Yeah.
sure.
For me personally, they're a lot more egregious than what you said.
Yeah.
Good word. Egregious.
Egregious.
Thank you.
Any other qualms? I got a few more, but I
got a bunch.
Go for it, Ellie.
Okay, so my first major one was Raven's death. That was probably the moment in the film that reminded me that I don't like these movies. And it was because of how they handled it. For 3 of the other X-Men to stay 100 feet away from Raven when she's dying was terrible to me. James McAvoy sitting in his chair all the way across the thing. She's dying. Maybe come up to her side,
Be with her in her
be with her, say something, I love you. And then
foster brother.
And then that, to me, that scene was just like atrocious. Like, it's worst I've seen in theaters. Because for how they handled it. And then for James McAvoy in the next scene to just be kind of like writing it off, and he's drinking and stuff. And I know he's grieving in his own way, blah, blah, blah. And Hank's really the only one torn up about it. And then and they pretty much like move on from that. And I like Hank. I like this character a lot. I like the actor a lot. That was like, shout out to him, because that was another redeeming, I guess, arc in that for me, was some of what Hank did. I just liked having having an emotional response.
Right.
Like, thank you for acting.
Him feeling how the
that
audience should
scene
be
was
feeling.
great.
That was great.
Yeah, I liked that scene.
I don't like the
that
direction that they went with Beast.
Me neither.
That's fine.
Yeah.
But that scene was bad for me.
Beast, if all things should be.
Oh, the Raven death scene?
Raven
yeah,
death scene.
Beast is supposed to be, for me, it was, and this is nothing against Nicholas Hoult, because I think he
It's
acted
the
it
writing
phenomenally.
It's the writing of it.
Yeah, it's
Beast
all
is
writing.
supposed to be the calm, collected one, logical, thinks everything through. He's almost like the Tin Man, in a sense. If he's just like, I'm going to just get all this stuff done. Like that's how he should be. He's the logic. He doesn't get upset about things. Like,
there's the one line that I think, for as many bad things that Last Stand is, Kelsey Grammer says the line. He's like, anything that's rather savage or savagery, whatever. He abhors like what Logan does. Like, that's true. He looks like a beast, but he's more human than most.
Yeah, that's his whole thing.
And Nicholas Hoult has played like a romantic character too, Mystique, in that way, which I'm like, cool. This is their run about it and all that stuff. I just, in it, quote unquote, on paper, makes sense for him to go to the dark side and be like, we got to kill this bitch. And it's like, but he's kind of like, you're going against your friends and you're like more dead set on like, I'm going to hurt my friends in order to kill this person.
Yeah.
And that didn't fall for me.
Yeah.
Where like,
especially the way his character
I
was
agree
so
with that.
die hard.
and I would say
it
for
felt
me,
like it's strange.
there's baggage because in the Infinity Gauntlet story, Xavier has the Mind Stone. And then when he dies, he gives it to Beast. And it's like, Beast is supposed to be one of the protectors of the most powerful things in the universe.
Yeah.
And it's like, you kill my girlfriend, I'm gonna
Yeah, I
fucking
felt
kill-"
the
And she
same.
didn't even like return the love.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't.
Yeah.
And you're like, so now we get the ex-boyfriend men.
Yeah.
We make a new team.
So like, yeah. So that it really bothered me. Like, I mean, it gets their run, right? It's their run, but it's exactly what I was talking about earlier with like the way they wrote Nightcrawler correctly. I think they went the opposite direction with Beast. And that's
I think
issue
that
for me.
you stray
Talk
from the
about this?
source material when you feel like you have something greater to contribute. You're like, oh, I have a better idea, and then when like
Right.
12 people around you
So
agree with you, then great.
Yeah.
That's what you change.
it felt weird for me to see him attacking Nightcrawler in the storm
So when it's not
in like
better
a
than the
very
source material.
real, I'm gonna kill you kind of way.
And a weird thing about that thing about logic, this whole movie is destroyed because of Deadpool 2.
Why?
That's true
Deadpool
too.
2 takes place in current time, and they have that scene where they open the door and the entire X-Men team's in there.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And it's called Xavier School.
But it's also Deadpool, so like,
Yeah, whatever.
yeah,
Maybe that's want to
probably
go.
address it
Yeah, I'll-
actually.
it's a fourth wall break. kind of thing.
Caitlin Qualms?
Qualms?
My qualm was with
There's a mole.
There's a mole. We're gonna be fixated on that, like I was fixated on the mole.
I saw a bit
Yeah.
of a green screen in the back.
God.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair though.
Yeah.
It was when the president disconnected the line
Oh my god.
to the school.
The pettiest thing
the
ever.
moment
That was so-
something went wrong.
Well, it's
Like-
a self-fulfilling prophecy, and it's like, I guess that's gonna happen.
It wouldn't happen like that.
Yeah, but I don't think that would have happened so immediately.
wouldn't
Like a
happen like that.
phone line.
They would have met or something.
Yeah, they would have tried to establish some kind of communication.
Maybe
because,
not though.
I mean, I've met petty people in my life, and they just disconnect
Yeah, I was gonna
me.
say I've known some
This
pretty
is a
petty
president
people.
who's like, you've now
It was
destroyed
one-
two communities.
It was one outlier mutant
yeah,
that caused everything.
But it was
That's-
his mutant.
Right.
The president needs to distance himself immediately. It'd be like,
It's
okay,
one
I,
Twitter
like, get
account
it.
and one director, and you get fired from Disney.
I get it, but I don't get it because it's like if it was this outlier mutant and it was one of the more prominent mutants, to be fair, like wouldn't the president want to like talk it out and be like, what's going on? At least talk
in
it out
92,
first.
not really.
Well, I mean,
I don't
I would say
know.
like this.
1992.
I think to me, it's hard for me to like. It's your qualm, and you can have it. But I think I get logic by it because of it's bad writing to me because he just said it. He just said like we have this really delicate balance and having everyone wear outfits. It's worth all the shit, all the peace because just years ago we were seen as monsters, and I'm like,
Right.
so obviously we're gonna see that go to shit.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
So
it's-
it'd be like if let's say the president had direct line to us, right?
Yeah.
The Nerd On, and they're like,
But
we just went on a
do.
mission, and we're like, oh, we saved a bunch of people in Nerd On, and then Tom goes nuts, kills 7 cops in an entire city block. They're gonna distance themselves from us
we
immediately,
saved 4
I get-
space people, and I killed 40.
right? And we're already they're already people hate them already.
Right.
They're a minority. They are the most hated people on the planet Earth at that point. So the minute anything goes wrong, where they killed humans, not mutants. Not only that, they killed cops, also destroyed a helicopter and killed soldiers. That's
I mean,
done. You've literally attacked the U.S. at that point.
I get it, but it's also like why wouldn't they want to at least try and understand?
Because they're terrorists.
You know-
At that point, you've killed the military.
You know-
It's not a negotiating thing. It's just
You don't
trying to
negotiate with terrorists.
They're not negotiating.
Well-
That's the whole point.
Well,
I'm just saying they ruined their direct line of communication to be like, what happened?
Yeah.
um,
Well, they
so
don't- I don't think they care.
They don't care.
I would say like this.
They don't.
They
care.
don't.
Kind of bring it back to the source material. It's very X-Men.
And it's like so. It's
Because
It's
like
very X-Men.
It's very X-Men.
you're talking about
'cause
the
that's-
same time, like the Central Park 5, where 5 people who were accused of doing something and put in jail for almost life for something they didn't do because no one cared to hear it. Same time. So
Oh
like,
my
it's
God.
not surprising to
Well,
me.
yeah,
that they
I
did
would
that.
say it's very X-Men because again, these are the marginalized people that don't get a second chance. They don't get the lawyers, the best lawyers in the world to like defend their case, right? And it's like it is the people like that are fall in the cracks of society and like all the imagine the different people that again have been allegedly committed crimes and all this stuff that people just turn their backs to. And the thing is like I think it is the allegory of like the majority of America, including the president, doesn't give a shit.
Fair.
And it's like, look, you got to defend your own stuff and you got to come to us.
They're essentially always on thin ice. It may seem like, yeah, everything's
and that
good, but
I think that's the
I think-
viewpoint from a minority.
yeah.
From the minority.
It's the reason I've always
demographic.
liked the X-Men.
Yeah. And it's
Because they
like,
just fight for
Fair.
the underdog.
it's like the majority will never see us in favor. And like the balance between us is so fragile. So I think that's tough. But to me, I was like, yeah, it's a really fucking petty thing.
yeah, super petty.
Yeah.
Super
Super
petty.
But I mean,
petty.
to me, it's
So
like,
petty.
I hate it.
Yeah.
That's why you stopped texting me back.
Also, everyone getting tossed off the train.
Yeah.
That annoyed me so bad.
Why?
Just the I don't know. I guess I wanted any kind of fight back. Like they
Wannabe
were
Hellfire
so
Club?
good.
They're just like,
at- yeah, it was just like a little grab, swoosh,
Talking about the aliens.
like the
The Hellfire Club people, the Genosha people.
Yeah, the
Oh,
Genosha
got it.
people.
Yeah, yeah.
Where it was just like a little whip.
Well, I thought what was
Bye.
strange during that there was a moment like when the army shows up and one of the people on the train, one of the aliens, somebody is shooting a machine gun at him and he gets at
Heals.
first he's like, oh shit, and then he just gets obliterated and he's dead.
With the
Then
heavy
for the-
machine gun?
With a heavy machine gun. But then they're like later on in the scene, like there's somebody shooting like another helicopter is shooting
Two
at a
people
guy.
get destroyed from that.
But there was one later on that didn't, and I was like,
No
okay,
sell.
I had a like
I didn't know.
There
Every
were
time they had
times
a
that-
heavy machine gun, someone got tore up. And
That's
Yeah,
what I
but
started to
it-
pick
the
up
regular
on.
machine guns don't do anything.
But there was
50 cals,
Rambo.
baby.
there was just inconsistencies. Like other things would kill them that shouldn't. If a 50 cal is what you need or whatever, if an anti-aircraft gun is what you need to take them down, then they shouldn't die from anything else.
And I also
And then like
the fighting where it was just like a single kick to the stomach and they're like, poo, out cold, woof. That was a lot. But it was
Woof.
obviously not enough to stop them.
Yeah.
But
mean,
then they were out for the rest of the fight.
Captain America kicks people in the stomach and they're out for the rest of the fight.
But these are-
and they're super soldiers.
Okay.
I would say
but
all
they're
the,
super
Where's the
soldiers.
logic?
I would say
But they're
like
super
this.
soldiers.
Where do you draw the line is all I'm saying.
X-Men would
fair,
defeat
fair.
the Avengers any day of the week.
No,
I
100%.
think there was I picked up on a lot of weird I mean, if you don't mind me piggybacking off of your
No, that's
thing,
fine.
I had a big problem with the aliens. I thought they were just like super tacked on. It felt out of nowhere.
Same.
It
A lot
and they
of
were
that.
it, like you barely saw what they looked like, super dark, and they look like weird Groot, like body snatcher.
Yeah.
Can I
dudes.
add to that? I normally don't like the whole explanation thing, but I think that this definitely deserved it. Like I didn't.
Yes.
Like,
Oh.
like
that
the
wasn't
whole,
even my biggest gripe.
Well,
with
the
it.
whole like here's the planet and all that stuff. I'm like, cool. I get your
Nice.
intentions, but I don't know who the fuck you are. And like the one line, it's like we are the Dabari. That's it. Or like, is that the last of the Dabari Empire? I'm like, that's all you're gonna say. And obviously, they're supposed to be like. Apparently,
that's
in
all you're
writing,
gonna
they were
give me?
supposed to be scroll or scroll like.
That's what I started to pick
But
up on
then,
with the shapeshifting.
so in the comic books, like it's supposed to be the Shi'ar. The Shi'ar are more like knowledgeable of the Phoenix, and they're actually the protectors of the White Hot Room, which is inside this gem, which the Phoenix operates out. It's all fucking weird X-Men shit.
this room right here.
Right?
Fucking weird X-Men shit.
But like, yeah, and so I'm like, cool, aliens. Like, we're getting to it. We're getting to like, no, it's not. No, it's not.
never mind.
Because the Shi'ar are more bird-like in any sense, and not like this weird thing. But I'm like,
I either
cool.
needed them not at all in this film or more time with them.
yeah, because they
Well,
kind of felt like tacked
They were
on.
inconsistent. Is the thing is, and like I don't know if Jessica was like a one-off like
the
version,
most powerful one or
the
something.
most powerful one, but she was like Miss Cave Cheston a lot, right?
Yeah.
From like the first half of the movie, and then she forgets her powers, and then none of the other aliens have powers. So I was like, okay, so they're no threat to the X-Men. Got it.
Yeah.
And then like
can
they can open
regenerate.
up, they can regenerate, they can like bend metal grates out of a train, but then they die from like a bullet. So it was just like weirdly inconsistent what these aliens were capable of doing and what they did, and like I didn't understand that, so I was never threatened by anything. So I was like,
Technically, to Corey's point, Captain America could die by a bullet.
Yeah.
yeah, that's true, that's fine, but like they didn't show him, like they didn't show the inconsistency on screen with Captain America.
Oh,
Yeah. I agree with that.
I don't know.
Yeah, they were.
It
It,
just
was
really took
weird.
me
I
out.
could have done without him at all and still had a. better
took me-
time.
like,
Spend more
like,
time
I
with your
wanted-
characters. More time. Like
I was excited for the train fight
Well,
until aliens showed up.
I think the main thing, there would be no fight if no alien showed up.
I don't know. Then
Because the thing is, like,
Then that's
at the
that.
very end, like, again, this is the final, their swan song, right? And so it's like, you got to have the fucking third, you got to have your Lex Luthor to bring Magneto and fucking Xavier together to work together. So I'm like, I
Yeah.
get it, but I was like, wow, I don't care about them at all. For me, I was like, I want to see Magneto. I
Yeah.
want to see him like fucking try to kill her, but find some way to be on the good guy side. Like that's what I cared about. I cared about like,
Yeah.
I want to see the team work together. Like the train fight was like one of my favorite parts, mainly because like I get to see the team work together, and like that's what it's like. I want to see the X-Men being X-Men.
yeah.
I don't want them seeing being this like I got this one crew and this other crew, and like we're all doing this weird thing, and it's like whatever.
Yeah. I want to give just a bit of advice to any filmmakers in the future. Stop dusting people.
Yeah.
Okay.
We've
I have
seen
something
it.
funny to say about
Said
that.
it.
seen
I
it.
said it. I said it. Dusting to me is the worst
No
example
more
of
Dusting.
ultimate power.
We've seen it, and we've seen it done really well. So
Stop it.
stop. No more dusting. No
so on
more
several
death
occasions.
being an vastless, endless ocean. No more of that either.
Also,
Those two things are. Let's retire
What
them
about in,
for
in
10 years.
space?
were you gonna say something
What
different?
about space?
Vastless, endless
I was
space,
right.
and
That's
floating.
fine. No water.
No water.
Um,
Okay, specific.
For
Yeah.
me, for everyone that's listening at home who are filmmakers, just like Corey and I and all that shit, I just put into the suggestion jar. If you're going to show awesome, almighty power, omnipotence, do Godzilla as atomic step. Red blasting and destroys
Yeah.
everything, like wind gusting everywhere. Like I think that's better.
Or if you want to
Yeah.
show disintegration, I've been recently watching My Hero Academia, and there's a character I haven't seen too much though, but in one point he starts to disintegrate someone's elbow, and it looks great.
Oh, it starts cracking off.
Yeah.
I cannot wait to
let's
do,
do
that,
that.
episode.
So anyway, that's my.
So one
qualm
funny
for
thing
that.
that I just
I have one last qualm when you're done.
speaking of
I have a qualm
dusting,
too.
on several occasions. I don't know if it was something. I don't know how their VFX, workflow goes, but shout out to because I know VFX artists are definitely
working
underappreciated.
really
so
hard.
this
Shout
is
out to
not
Sonic.
this is not your fault by any stretch. But there were several moments where like there was CG rubble and it was like slow mo, and you could see like big chunks of it just like pop out of existence.
Oh,
And I'm
I
like-
didn't notice that.
So just the render engine stopped rendering that thing.
They got Thanos.
But it's like it's the dust, right? It's the explosion of the rock and rebel and
Yeah.
rubble and stuff, and then like
Rebel and Rebel.
and you're not supposed to see what's happening. It's all crazy on screen. But then
Here's
like
the thing: most people don't
my
notice
eyes-
that, so
but my eyes
they
locked
might
on
not
to
even
like
have noticed
it
it.
locked onto a big chunk, and then like it disappeared.
Here's a fun fact for you.
Okay.
With that happening in very successful. Do you know that happens in Jurassic Park, the first one?
Does it?
So the end scene where the Velociraptor jumps and the T-Rex catches it.
Oh, he's gone for like a frame.
He's
right?
gone for a frame.
The raptor.
The render, he just
gone for
disappears.
a frame.
The T-Rex turns and just disappears and then comes back.
I mean, clearly nobody noticed it, but it was just something that stood out to me. I was like,
Yeah.
okay, that's strange.
Yeah, I didn't notice.
But
that.
it was just a small thing.
Yeah.
Doesn't qualify as a crime.
Josh,
I have two.
go for it.
So the score is composed by Hans Zimmer, and I was really surprised when I saw that name because I didn't like the music.
I didn't even notice it.
No, I didn't see it.
And here's the So here's the thing about that.
Do you usually like Hans Zimmer?
Yeah, I usually like
Oh,
Hans
yeah.
Zimmer.
Lion King.
He's great.
Yeah, I mean,
He did
I usually
Pirates,
like Hans Zimmer. Here's the thing. I just felt like it was a fucking wall of drones for the whole thing, which makes you not notice it. I think because I felt like it was always music and it was always like
It wasn't used tactfully.
it wasn't used tactfully, and so I was like,
So
There
those
was
are
almost a
those are
point-
your boys.
Yeah.
Your sound mixer boys.
there's a part. No, it was.
I want to give them a shout out though for the rocket taking off. That was the best feeling in
Yeah,
the theater
that was
I've ever
great.
had.
and and I don't even think it's a mix thing. I think it's more
great.
so that the music was there. I just felt like there was always music.
There probably was always music.
Always. And I guess,
But it didn't do anything.
yeah, there were some cool moments in it. I guess I just remember it taking me out of it going, I feel like you never gave me a break. Like, I don't know. It bothered me.
Can I add to that?
Yeah.
I actually was waiting for the Bryan Singer theme
Oh, yeah.
because it's actually really close to the original X-Men theme, and it's really good. And
Oh.
it never showed up.
Yeah.
Mm.
And I was really sad.
And then I cried.
And
It's
then I
those kinds of things that made me love the first two. It was like just like I remember the music so much and like waiting for that title sequence.
and that's what I'd
music.
say with the Hans Zimmer
It's
music.
little
like,
things
you
that
could
add up.
hear one significant part of his whatever he does in every movie.
Yeah.
It may not be the biggest.
I have a
thing.
feeling that if, let's say, I bought the soundtrack and I listened to it myself, I'd be like, oh, this is a great soundtrack. It was the way that
It was just
used.
how it was used.
Yeah, it was
Nothing
how it
against
was
the music
used.
itself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no. But I was just kind of like,
Your
my other qualm is what. So going into this movie, and watching this movie, Sophie Turner, I really had to really think about this a lot because I was like, what the fuck? I don't think that she's a terrible actress because I watched her for like how many years for GOT?
8 years. Yeah.
And I never once was like, man, she's a terrible actress.
I thought she was really good in the Game of Thrones.
Yeah. And for this, I was like, why is it that she just seems so bad? And my qualm
not her
is
part.
what they did to her. My qualm is to make an actress that isn't a bad actress seem like a bad actress.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I
you
mean,
remember we were talking
just
about
to-
like, oh, it's good.
Just
I'm
the
good.
writing.
I'm fine. I'm
It-
good.
Oh, yeah.
It could be a little bit of both. So like actress has to take ownership for that a little too. Actors
Yeah.
need to take ownership for that as
For
well.
sure.
It's
I mean,
not.
yeah.
It can't. You can't say, oh, they're a bad actor. It must have been the tech. It must have been the lighting guy, right? So it
Okay,
could
so
be,
I think that was misinterpreted. I'm not saying like shit on the writers. Yeah, I just feel like yes, you are right. There's a marriage because you could take somebody like Michael Fassbender. It's like he was given shitty writing as well.
yeah,
It's the way that you handle those lines.
right.
Can be totally different. I guess it's just the way that, I don't know.
I think it's
I
characterization.
know what you're saying. I'm just trying to
But-
walk a.
No, I
middle
know.
ground.
I'm
Fine
not.
line. And,
All of the writers, anybody that was involved.
and I would say to me, the biggest point that's like paramount is actually supposed to be, I think, the most emotional is when
Mhm.
she's crying in the rain. And I was like, this is such a shitty part of the film because instead you could have had her like going crazy in a warehouse with all her powers like in full power mode and have the same effect and not
And then
in the
there
rain.
could be like,
But just not in the rain. But
Footloose.
Yeah.
well, the
playing.
same, but the exact same lines, but like you can get a little bit more of her bravado of her
Yeah.
character
Yeah.
because she is capable of that. And to that point, everyone at home that was listening, we were joking about it. Like I was so fucking livid that every single like word that came out of her goddamn mouth ended with good. How do you feel? Good. How are you doing? Good. You look good. When I do bad things, it feels good. That was in the trailer that never showed up in the goddamn movie. But I was just like really upset. I was like, I swear
You
to
good,
God,
Tom?
If she says good one more
Maybe
time.
they were like, she's saying good too many times. Take that scene out.
Oh my God. It was
That's
just,
probably exactly what it was.
oh my God. Seriously, I was like, I was gonna laugh. I was like, let's make this a drinking game where drink every time she says
Good.
And it was like there was
Then
a
you'll
lot.
get
It was
alcohol
so much.
poisoning.
Like, how do you feel before the ship goes? How do you feel after you're dead? Good. And then all of a sudden, like with Cyclops, are you okay? I'm good. Really good. Sees her dad. I've been good. It's like, oh my God.
Good. I've been good. Good. Good.
Did you have another one?
Are you good?
No. Character costumes and wardrobe.
Oh, and
I
her
did not like her
hair.
hair. And
Where it looks like
God.
she's
I'm
been
gonna be-
What was
sitting like
that?
this
I'm gonna be-
for the last 3 hours, so all the oil is concentrated from her hands, and then it just stuck to her head, and the rest of her hair floofed
What
out.
was that?
I'm gonna quantify this. I'm not gonna try to be petty of like I didn't like her hair and all that shit. I'm one of the
Yeah,
few people
you're
I think
petty.
in the world
Yeah, I'm petty.
that liked
fine.
the first Fantastic Four with Chris Evans and all them. And I completely like got turned off like 50% of the second one because like the change of costumes. Like I hated the fact that like Chris Evans' hair grew out. I hated the fact that the Reed Richards hair was like all messed up. I hated the fact that Victor Von Doom like was not coiffed up, that his cloak turned black leather. I was like, what happened to the costume department? Like, what
I'm
happened?
petty, Corey.
Everything looked so
he
good
said it,
in the
not me.
last one. Like, it might have been dumb things, but everything looked comic accurate. This, I was like, why with the brown cloaky thing? Why
That was the time.
Why
man.
the thing with
it was the same time that everyone like at that time people didn't want to see it.
Well, to me,
Right?
it was,
I think they
it was
wanted
It was
it.
like the X-Men being in the black suits. Like now we all want to see the
They
real
wanted
suits.
to be taken serious.
Well, to me, it's the Famke. It's literally the Famke Jensen outfit that she had in Last Stand. I was like, you could have done any other.
Oh
thing.
yeah, 100%.
And I was like, it's just too close to Last
the
Stand.
red trench coat.
Yeah,
and
which I was like, why that one? Like, put her in.
because it's the same writer.
Put her in green.
Who wrote that
Put
one?
her in fucking green.
that would have been great.
Maybe
Make
it's
her-
his own homage
like-
to his last movie that he wrote.
The one thing that I really fucking liked out of
Not
all
last
of it
movie he wrote, but
was Magneto's helmet, and then the fact they had Xavier in a fucking turtleneck for like once.
yes,
And
it looks so good.
And I was like, finally.
and it looked good.
I'm like, please just put him in there one time
not
for
in
the
these
squad.
covers. No.
So my last qualm is the ending, actually.
Oh.
That it ended?
That I feel like it didn't.
Oh, well, yeah.
There was no finality to anything.
Well-
I also don't agree with.
That's what the monologue was. Sometimes you break beyond the
You
fate of
evolve.
things.
So
to,
anyway,
Space Phoenix.
I, being a fan of Charles Xavier, it felt weird that he abandoned his school.
Yeah.
I didn't. It doesn't line up with everything we've seen in the character over the last 19 years. Because this is the same.
you would think there would be some kind of redemption on first character there at the end to where like he.
Everyone
coming
blamed
back.
him for everything.
Yeah.
No one, because like some bullshit people blaming him for that stuff. Because
So you.
because I agreed with what he did about
Yeah.
the dad.
Well, because it was okay. So watching that, I was like, I swear to God, like he better not have fucking touched her. Like I would be
No.
really pissed. What?
No,
Because you
yeah.
don't know what you don't know
Oh,
what's
the
gonna
dad?
happen. No.
Oh, Xavier.
I was like, you don't know what these writers, okay?
Yeah.
You don't know what's gonna happen. And I
don't.
was like, you better not have fucking touched her. I swear to God, don't fucking destroy this character for me. And then what he did, I was like, oh, that's justified.
yeah.
That's justified.
Yeah.
Because he's trying to, in a way.
He
like,
hid the fact that her dad literally said, "I don't want her. She's a monster." And I was
But
like,
that
and the
plus
other-
him being egotistic is not enough for everybody to write him off.
right.
And the thing is, like, yeah, he's trying to protect her, but it's that overprotection instead of letting her live her life, and that's why she has that final line of like, "My emotions make me strong." It's like, yeah, the truth, as harmful as it is better for you.
Yeah.
And so like, it's
But like,
it's
I don't think he
understandable.
should have been crucified for it.
No, yeah.
My whole after everything he's done for everyone else, they're like, "Oh, you hid 2 memories from her? You're a sinner." And
You're
I'm like,
a monster.
"Whoa,
Yeah.
Jesus."
That seriously bothered me. I was like, would everybody just get off his nuts?
yeah,
Like,
like
what
talk
is
to him for
happening?
a second.
To that point, I would say like this, like comparatively to Dark Knight Rises, there was no point where it sounded like he wanted to give up the school.
Right.
In Dark Knight, they had that. He's like, I don't want to be the Batman
It felt
forever.
when they put up the sign for Jean Grey's school for the Gifted, I was like, "Oh, that was nice of Charles to name the school after her." And then Charles is gone. I was like,
and I was like,
The fuck?
"Why is Charles gone?
Bernie Frank.
This doesn't make sense to me." Like,
Well, it didn't feel like an end. It's like, because we know, because it's a continuation and the later movies are later, it's like, obviously he comes back.
no, but the
and then it's
timeline's
like,
different. So if he's not there, none of that shit happens. Do you know what I mean?
That's the whole point.
And
of
Future
the
Past
Future
changed the
Past.
time.
and
timeline.
Deadpool doesn't even have.
So like for me, that was bothersome that it ended on like it was like almost Soprano level like And then there was a Phoenix. By the way, these are the end of our films.
I mean, I would say like this. I don't like where it landed, but I liked the fact that it ended on the chess fight.
I liked that it ended on the chess game because that's their whole thing. But like,
But it could have ended
Charles
at
leaving the school didn't
Xavier's
make sense
school.
to me. Not tying up the the storyline with Quicksilver and Magneto didn't make sense to me. Like they left so many things. I get it's their last film, but it didn't feel like there was an effort to try to finish these things they have planted for us and showed us as important. Throughout 2 films, they're like, Magneto's his dad. Magneto's his dad. And then he says it in Apocalypse. Yeah, he's my dad. I'm here
Also-
for my friend, my family.
Also, Corey, where's our favorite Asian?
Jubilee?
Where's Psylocke?
Oh, Psylocke was gone.
Gone.
Where was she? I
Gone.
liked her a lot.
But I mean, I would say this
Gone.
to the point of the
Shout out
finale
to Olivia
and
Munn.
ending of it all.
But they made it an important thing in Apocalypse. She's like, I'll be back. And then sneaks off.
No, you won't.
But I did like that. It's like a long time ago, you offered me a place at your institute. I would like to do the same. I was like, yes, I want to see that shit, baby.
But you won't. Anyway, I had an issue with the ending. And I literally said out loud when the credits rolled, I went, what? And that was it. So
All
that's
right.
the end of the X-Men. Let's rate it.
Rating?
So Ali goes last. I go second to last. So it's between the 3 of you.
Nose goes. Josh.
No, Josh, too bad. 5.
No.
Aw.
3,
2, 1.
last off.
Kaylin?
No.
I'm just kidding. 3.5.
3.5. Okay. Oh, let me write that shit down.
3 point.
Do you guys not come with numbers
4.
ready to go?
Apparently
do.
They don't.
I thought about it, but I was like
Is it changing?
weighing. I was calculating all the like discussion in
Got
my
it,
brain
got
and
it,
see if
got
it
it.
affected it. But no, it's 3.4.
Yeah, you do have to bear in mind that sometimes you guys say good things.
Thank you.
And I go,
Yeah.
oh, yeah.
That's
Yeah,
fair.
That's a pretty
You know?
valid point.
So
Yeah.
don't.
I'm sorry. I just also take note when my number changes.
Oh.
Sometimes we can be beyond our fate.
I just go,
Yeah.
that's a good point. 3.3.
3.
I'm not taking any life lessons from this movie.
3.
Yeah.
3.
3.
Why? You just want to say 3.
3. It's very, to me, I would say, like, again, I think Simon Kinberg, he wrote this and he directed this. It's giving me more to believe that Bryan Singer is kind of, again, a systemic
Here's the thing. I was talking to Dana about that last night, and she was like, "Why do they give people like franchises like that?" And I was like, "Because they think if they can make one good film, they can make 12. When really sometimes people only have one good film."
Well, they want to
Yeah.
milk it. They want to milk it
Right?
because it's like
so
successful.
like
and it's got
Singer
a
had
brand.
one, X2 was okay, and then that should have been it.
That should, yeah.
But
Or
to
just
me,
wait for Singer to get, I mean, this is obviously like 20 years ago or whatever. Then they should have waited for Bryan Singer to become available again and then did X3.
no.
No, I think he should have stopped after 2.
I
I think
don't.
2 was borderline. There were some ideas in it that
I-
were like, I don't like where this
I
is
told,
going.
like, Corey was texting me, like, when he finished Apocalypse, he's like, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, because Bryan Singer doesn't know how to direct more than one person in a
Yeah.
scene. Like, his claim to fame was Usual Suspects. What's the movie? A fucking dialogue.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
And
I'm
it's between
willing to
two
put money
people.
down, though, that Singer's X3 would have been better than Ratner's X3.
Maybe. I mean, he did Apocalypse,
He did
right?
Apocalypse from start to
that's-
beginning.
Apocalypse to me is
Oh,
worse than X3.
This is like in a bubble back then.
Start
Yeah,
to
right.
Beginning.
Start to
Like
finish.
if he went forward, he had ideas
Yeah.
for X3 that he was setting.
She's a little paperclip of Microsoft.
He set up a lot of plot things, and
My name
that's
is
the thing with
Clippy.
X2 is that it feels a little like obviously it's a little kind of wonky, but I think he used it to set up a lot of plot points, which I think he was going to explore. as
I'm
well.
interested in
To me,
both
I
of them.
think, like, Matthew Vaughn had a better direction. His writing style and all that stuff, or like,
Oh, I agree with that.
The way all the source material is handled, is like not super faithful to the comic books, but it's like he made me like think I should care about characters and that there was a team aspect of
Yeah.
it. In all of Bryan Singer's work, I only felt Wolverine's the only one that mattered,
Yeah.
and that like,
Yeah.
cool, these old guys are fighting. That's it.
I
Free-
watched it all through
I got more than
again recently, like all of them, and I was like, wow, they put a way big focus on Wolverine.
Yeah.
Even
He
in
was
the
not-
X-Men
he
movies.
He was the
not
audience surrogate.
a main character in X-Men until those movies came out.
Yeah.
3.2.
Oh,
For me. Yeah, I liked this more than Aladdin. I was more entertained. I also got having watched Apocalypse before and seeing how like generic and destroyed those characters were, and then coming into this where like there was some semblance of who they are as like comic book characters and their personalities and stuff coming through. Had a lot of moments in it where I was like, you know, finally getting to see Nightcrawler through the portal and stuff like that. Had a lot of those wow moments for me that I was like, I'm glad I get to see this before this franchise ends. So for me, that bumped it up just a little bit. So 3.2.
If the franchise started at this momentum without the death of all these characters,
yeah,
it would
right.
have been great.
Yeah,
It would have been great.
See, and that's the issue right there. Is am I the last one?
I should never say.
I
anything
was going
'cause
for
then
I was going for a natural segue. So my favorite character is Jean Grey,
yeah.
and so for me,
in this movie,
No, in X-Men.
In
characters,
X-Men.
characters.
yeah, Femke, shout out,
Oh yeah,
She did a
for
great job.
sure.
made me love that character even more, which was
Don't
awesome.
make that face, Tom. Let him have it. Don't be a dick.
You know, I had my experiences with X1 and 2. They were different than yours. Mine is a 1.8.
Okay.
I went in with my blank slate as per usual, and I was really not rooting for it, but I was really hoping that it would be different this time. And I don't know why I expected it, and it immediately, pretty quickly started to show the same signs, and I started to get the same feelings as I did watching every one of these other new cast X-Men's, and yeah.
That's why you put your little wristband over your head, because you knew you were going to wear the crown.
Choking on his own words.
I'm also dying too.
So there you have it, guys.
Wow.
Ollie's the Grump of the Week, 1.8.
Wow.
Someday we'll get a crown
Yeah,
or
yeah.
something.
We will. We'll get something.
Some sort
Mine's
of like
fine.
a
Well, if you think about it, if you double his score, it's higher than the highest score.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's the way to look at it.
Josh,
Wow.
why don't you take us out? I feel
It's usually
complete.
Yes, I feel
complete.
complete. Everybody at home, thank you so much for listening. If you are new to Nerd On, you can check out our website, nerdon.tv. It has all the information about us there, including our 2 other shows, Trope Time, which is once a month, first Monday of every month, hosted by our friends Nikki and Izzy. We also have our show that is also weekly. Goodness, Update, the Nerd On Update.
A lot of stuff.
We have a lot of stuff that
You're
we
getting
do.
it,
There's a
dude.
lot of
You're there.
things.
We have a lot of things.
It's okay.
Maintain.
Maintain. But yeah, you can check out all the stuff on nerdon.tv. Please do check out us on Apple Podcasts. Hit us, give us a review, share us with your friends, your family, all that good stuff. It really does actually help. The reviews show Apple that people are listening. It's crazy. The man is watching.
Or the woman.
Yeah, or the
Josh.
The overseer is
ex-women.
watching.
They're watching.
Well
they
done.
are watching. The person is watching. But yeah, thank you
Probably
so much.
AI.
On that, you know the drill. As always,
Nerd on.